few years back, we saw Godzilla trudge back onto screens, American style, and lo and behold, it was pretty fucking badass, man.
Yep.
You know, it was pretty damn good. I finally got to see it with you when I came back home, and I was pretty much impressed. But typical, the Japanese, they said, you know what? We created Godzilla.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to trump you, which they've done countless times before. Most notably when
the
cinematic abortion that was the Matthew Broderick Godzilla came out, and they just said, fuck this shit. We could literally shit on film and it'd be better than that. But they did that with this one, which was a really, really impressive film, Gareth Edwards' version. And they produced Shin Godzilla, which was a reboot. It's just starting all over again, or a remake, if you will. This is like if Godzilla first came to the big screen, came to the shores of Japan.
Yeah, it's like a what if, really.
Yeah, and we finally got to see it courtesy of Senor Spielbergo, who was going to join us for the It review. Check that out.
But he died.
But before he died, he let us bask in the glory of Shin Godzilla. And
instead of mourning the loss of our friend,
yeah,
we
just reveled in lizards.
We just do a video on the film.
Now, Shin Godzilla might be a divisive kind of film to some people,
I think
especially Americans, because it's done in a very non-traditional way. It is more of a, kind of like an emergency response movie.
Yeah.
And it's realistic in its approach to things. There's no distinct characters that we really get attached to, but that's not to its detriment.
Yeah.
There are characters that stand out more than others, of course.
Not in the traditional, leading man or whatever, or character that is the main character kind of way.
Yeah, this is more of a technical drama, and our friend Spielbergo pointed out that it was kind of like an Aaron Sorkin version of Godzilla, where you see more of the official response to something rather than the something that happens there. Now, the American version kind of did this. We saw more of the everyman's response to something that big coming on shore. But here we see...
there's some nods to the American movie, I want to say.
Yes, definitely.
Which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, they really took that idea and...
They take the same response to Godzilla, which would be just to nuke it, and instead show you the side of the people in charge.
Yeah. And
of that.
That's really unique, man. It really was a good choice to do that, because it gives you a completely different angle to things. This really does feel like a natural disaster film that centers on the government and the military and the officials that would handle these things in the crisis. We don't get to see much of the peons that crawl around the street. And then because of that, we lose a lot of the fat that comes with American movies, which is the standard love story that's kind of shoehorned into it. Now, they did it very well in the Godzilla one, but, it still kind of feels shoehorned a lot of the times. Like, we need to have this. Now, they have a couple of characters that kind of have a flirtatious relationship, but it never goes. Really, it never goes there. This is really just... They achieve scope and scale by what people say, and that is kind of amazing, because, as I said, there's no real central characters. There's all this swath of characters from everywhere. Boom, military, this guy, and they just... Man, it's rapid fire. It really feels like a lot of action is happening, but you're really seeing people talk.
Yeah, it's to the point that they have to have a subtitle telling you who the people are, just so you could get us. And it actually works. I thought that was really neat.
It really does, man. It really works fantastically, and it gives you that sense of scale and scope because of their response. So, and then they subdue the amount of times that you see Godzilla on screen, kind of like the American version, and that helps. That really helps, because when
you still see him more than some of the older movies.
Yeah, but in this way, he's utilized a lot more effectively.
Yeah, and his appearances are actually important to the story.
And again, Godzilla is brought onto the screen kind of in levels. He's an evolving creature, and how he came to be is kind of revealed as these people try to find answers, which they would in real life if this ever happened. And again, one of the biggest things, before I continue on that frame of thought. One of the biggest things that I really liked about this movie is that it went back to what King of Monsters did, the original Godzilla movie, and that is it made it relevant to Japan at the time. King of Monsters was in a response to Japan in the wake of nuclear power, and this is a response to Japan on the global scale. Where do they stand politically? Where do they stand as a people? Is it time for them to go, you know what, we're not that Japan anymore, we're this Japan, and that was really cool, man. That was really cool, and it wasn't in your face. It was really like subtly done. And
there's like a little bit of kind of like talking shit to the Americans on the side, but I think it was done well.
Yeah, it was done kind of like with an amicable sense, like we're part of this world, not just America.
Yeah, because America kind of comes in as like, we're just gonna nuke it.
Yeah, kind of like the John Wayne type of approach.
And I actually like that there's that little nod to the American movie, which is the same plot. Really, they're just gonna nuke it, and they go, it's exactly what they would do if it hit New York. And I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, there was so much to digest in the movie. In terms of everything, the little Easter eggs like those, and just in terms of dialogue and what's going on, it really feels intense. There was never really a dull moment. And again, it's very shocking because really you're just seeing people talk.
Yeah,
and that it works that well is man.
I think
credit to those screenwriters.
Yeah, I think a lot of it. Well, obviously that the writing's good and the I don't want to say action because it's not really action. The dialogue is interesting, so that you're like, okay, I want to see where this goes.
Mm-hmm.
But also the music they use in those scenes, and the scenes of people figuring shit out, and the Godzilla attacks is really effective.
Yeah,
it's odd at times, especially towards the end. It gets a little weird, but I really liked it. It kind of felt like old Godzilla music, like remixed. You know what I mean? Like the scope of it was there, but it was like used differently. And
there was they even used choirs at one point and orchestral approaches. But yeah, it was much more of a neo-Godzilla, traditional Godzilla music.
Yeah, and we're not talking like dubstep or anything like that. It's just
no.
Interesting use of music.
Yeah, it was really fitting, with the exception of a few scenes where it was kind of, well, that's a
there was
music.
a couple, especially towards the end, which was a little weird. But whenever they use the music, like I that's the one thing I noticed like right away. I was like, damn, this music is really good.
Yeah, really
and
good.
It kind of like helps those scenes. Those scenes where not much. I don't want to say not much is happening, but like people are just talking instead of like action, because that is a lot of people just talking, but it's interesting.
Yeah, man. It was really intense. When the deaths of certain characters came up, you actually kind of felt that impact because
they was treated like real.
Yeah, and they were like deaths were like avatars for what's going. Again, it added to the scope of it. These people dying affects all those people that we just see in glimpses.
And you just kind of see like people having to move on and rearranging shit and shit. Yeah, it was cool.
It was really fascinating approach to this to the screenplay, and the direction overall. Man, kept with that suspenseful feeling throughout. They really knew how to use cutaways at the right moments. They knew when to show you Godzilla and when not to show you Godzilla. Now let's talk the effects. The effects, for the first time ever, Godzilla is almost 100% digitally rendered. With a few exceptions where maybe it was just like an enhanced render.
Yeah,
or something
I heard that there was some suit work. Yeah, but for the it looks like most of it was CG.
And for if you're used to like super high budget fucking ILM style CGI, you're not gonna get that level, but it works. It really does.
Yeah, what it lacks for in like
sophistication.
Yeah, it makes up for in like weird design.
Yeah,
and just the way it looks, which is something I'm not exactly sure because I haven't seen the movie yet, but which is something that seems to carry out into Attack on Titan, where the effects don't look amazing, but they're interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that you're like, okay, I can forgive the way that looks, which is a movie by Toho also, so it's important, and directed by the same director, I believe. So it's an interesting use of their lack of budget, I think.
Yeah, the stylistic
to
approach
just make it like really stylistically interesting, so it makes up for it.
Yeah, it really does. And then, as aforementioned, Godzilla has stages of evolvement. So when he first comes on land, he's really weird looking. You really just first see his fins, which gives you the idea that maybe it's just going to be Godzilla.
The tail.
And the tail, the tail looks different from the beginning, but he's kind of like in this pre-larval state almost.
Yeah.
He has googly eyes, but they're more like fish eyes. Yeah. and he has these gills
He's got no arms.
His arms are nubs.
The gills are really disturbing.
Yeah,
he's just like spewing out shit from his gills and shit.
Yeah, it's a really weird looking design.
And you just kind of see him like walk for a while, and they even like kind of make reference. It's just walking.
Yeah, and that's fascinating because really that's Godzilla. All he really does is walk. But they make reference to it knowingly. And despite the fact that literally at one point he doesn't even walk anymore, he's just standing there, the menace is pervasive throughout.
Because they don't know what he is.
Yeah.
It literally makes you like, even though you've seen Godzilla movies,
the mystery remains.
Yeah, you're like, what is this thing and what is it doing? And they even find, like, even though it's mostly just doing Godzilla shit, they find interesting, like, little twists to it. Like, at one point he shoots beams from his back and shit,
which was awesome.
And
by
the
way.
tail,
when
like
that happened, I was like, wow.
There's like a bunch of different. They bring new shit into the table.
Attacks, yeah. But yeah, the overall design when he finally gets to his final, I guess, stage is pretty cool looking. I thought so. Kind of like he had kind of like a breaking skin with kind of like a lava-esque glow coming out of it. And then his fins glow.
It's kind of like a weird corally look almost.
Yeah, it was really neat, man.
And he's got little hands for some reason.
His final face is really the most menacing I've seen Godzilla look. Feral, very very strange, man. The jagged. It kind of reminded me of Venom in a way, the cool version. But it was really cool, man. And overall,
and it's like film. It's interesting because he never like really does anything bad or evil.
No, it's
literally just like an animal.
Yeah, it's treated like an animal, and people are mystified by this.
And they don't know what
new
to do,
species of, and that just adds to the mystique of him and the pulse pounding kind of suspense of the whole situation. Everything worked in this movie. I was really shocked at how good it was. I wasn't expecting it to be this. I was expecting it to be good. I wasn't expecting it to be this good, and it was really good. And that ending, I mean, we won't ruin anything, but it ends with a shot where you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And by now we've heard rumors, and maybe you have too, if you've already seen it and read up on it, of what may be coming ahead for the Shin Godzilla franchise. And it's interesting, man. Where they're taking this is really unique, and I mean, I'm waiting with bated breath for what's next.
If they continue it.
If they continue, which they are.
Yeah.
So that's good. But anyway, that's been our thoughts on Shin Godzilla. Check it out. If you're a Godzilla fan, definitely check it out. If you want a really different and unique approach to an action spectacle, check it out. Because it might just... I mean, if it's your cup of tea, you're going to love the shit out of it. So
I wish this had a wider release over here. But
we did get a release, but it wasn't that big.
Yeah.
So, hey, maybe the next one, right? I mean... Fantastic movie. Check it out. Definitely the best Godzilla film I've seen in years. And considering we just got one a few years ago from the American side of the whole affair, that's two great Godzilla films.
Yeah, in personally, a short period of time. I think I hold them both at an equal standing for different reasons. Because the new one is a very interesting, different take on it, on Godzilla, whereas the American one was more like a remake of the old series in a way, the way the story was structured. So I think they're both really good in their own ways, but this new one is really, really good if you want to see something different, completely different.
It's a close call for me. I'm gonna give Shin Godzilla a tiny edge ahead, but it's really a tiny edge. They're both fantastic films. I did prefer, because I was just really fascinated with this new approach.
Yeah, I think just like in terms of pure like monster action and like spectacle, the American one is like freaking
the
badass.
way to go.
Yeah, especially if you saw it theatrically. I'm sure if anybody saw it theatrically, they'll freaking agree it was really good to see it with people, the way they reacted. But this one's so interesting and so different.
Yeah, that
it's just like, okay,
hooks you in. Yeah. So check out Shin Godzilla. Tell us what you think. If you've already seen it, tell us what you think. This has been Ahab and the Goontick. Talking big ass beasts from the east.
God damn.